So interesting. There is a large presence tonight in Gainesville after weeks of hardly any police presence. I just arrived into town to find a large number of sheriff's deputies positioned around the Cook County Courthouse lawn, as well as more than a dozen state police vehicles. Again, something we haven't seen in nearly a month since armed white militias began to show up here. And as a result of that lack of counter-protesters and lack of protesting, or militia presence, we haven't seen that. But now, for the first time in 30 days, state police are back. I'm gonna come over here. So, as we've seen in the past, this is certainly not the number of vehicles we've seen in the past, but it is more presence than we have seen in a month. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, a dozen state police vehicles. Texas Highway Patrol. A few more than a dozen occupying a parking lot just west, the Texas Department of Public Safety parking lot just west of the downtown Cook County Courthouse lawn. So that's not very comforting. Makes me wonder if they know something that we don't as far as an expected turnout this evening. Makes you wonder why they think that it's necessary. Oh, you're back again. What's that? Can't hear a damn word you're saying. What's that?
Just enjoying my cigar.
Yeah. Every Sunday at 5:30.
Every day at 5:30.
Every day at 5:30. Yeah. So that dude, pretty sure that dude, if he's not an official undercover, he's definitely supporting local law enforcement, because his job is obviously to document. If you're watching today, I am not able to see your comments if you're commenting on the thread, because I'm going through multiple channels. So if you're commenting, just know I can't see your comments. But if you have some important information, something that you see, something that you think I need to know, just shoot it over to, put it in the comments and someone will get it to me. So, more police presence today all of a sudden.
I think you're on stream. There's nobody over there.
Yeah. Stream, Periscope, Twitter. They've got 13 state police vehicles, more Cook County deputies than we've seen in weeks. Makes me wonder what they know that we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Any word?
Not a single.
Yeah.
And there's nobody over here, as far as like police and all that. There's nobody over here.
Okay.
There's one sheriff car that's like there.
There's multiple on the south side.
There's a few on the south side.
And they've got them parked on the other side of the library too, along with other state police vehicles.
How many over there?
3. I've seen no less than half a dozen deputies when I pulled up walking in. Surely they're not the first. So if you're just tuning in, this is Gainesville, Texas. I'm on the Cook County Courthouse lawn. Hey, how you doing? Fan club's here. Gainesville, Texas, Cook County Courthouse lawn, where Local community organizers have been actively protesting against white supremacy and racism, most notably against the Confederate tributes which fill the town, like this one. This is one of 2 Confederate monuments. This one here stands on the Cook County Courthouse lawn at the center of justice for the entire county. You can see that it stands nearly as tall as the courthouse itself. Even more egregious, it bears several racist inscriptions and odes to white supremacy. The most notable, it refers to the Confederate soldiers as revolutionary sires that should be modeled by children. It refers, says here, "O home of tears, but let her bear this blazon to the end of time. No nation rose so white and fair, and none fell so pure of crime." On multiple occasions, Cook County authorities have attempted to block pro-Gainsville, the predominantly black female-led organization that's been working and leading community organizing efforts against these white supremacist constructs. They have local officials to dissuade and discourage efforts. Hey, how you doing? Good to see ya. This is Tori Lynn Henderson, one of the co-founders of Pro Gainesville. And I understand you have something special planned for this evening?
Do I have some news?
Yeah. We're going to take a little field trip.
Yes.
Where are we headed?
Well, we aren't going to go there.
Okay.
We're going to take a little march.
Okay.
If there's not progress this week, then we will march there. But
Okay.
this week, we're just going to have a regular gathering, a little march,
Okay.
and a little bit of a discussion.
Okay. Right on. So I know that there was some updates regarding a recent local first responder, or recently some updates regarding a local first responder.
That's right.
And some comments that he's made amongst his peers and
Some
other
further
first responders.
racism existing in our systems.
So we're going to talk about that today.
Yep.
Okay. We will look forward to it. So we've got about, hey guys, person with my favorite sign ever.
I get that, because I
Got about a little more than a dozen folks here already. Hey. Oh, look at your shirt.
My shirt.
You always wear the best shirt.
Thank you.
Good to see you, friend.
You too.
You doing okay? Feeling all right?
Hello.
Yeah? Feeling run down?
Not run down, it's just a little bit of my
Yeah.
blood work and my iron level and all that stuff. But I'm still moving. As long as I can move, I'm good.
Come next week.
Well, you take good care of yourself. That's what matters, right?
Claimed at work.
All right.
Like, my coworker's like, we're gonna come, and then like we got slammed and we're
We've got several supporters here from Out of Town Watchmen, BLM, Who Took the Streets, Justin Thompson, who has been another co-founder of Pro Gainesville, diligently working on ensuring music, because, you know, it's important to have protest
Of
tunes.
course, it is. Sorry,
Okay.
it's been a day.
Everyone's favorite local Pro Gainesville supporter, Ron Underwood.
How are you, Jessica?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Oh man, I got those St. Francis statues at my house. You still want those? Are you interested in them?
I remember us talking about it now. Yeah.
I've got 2 of them. They're great. They're hand carved wood, about 3 feet tall. They're wonderful. So if you'll be out here next week, I'll bring them to you next week. Okay. Cool.
You know, isn't it interesting after all the publicity that police overreach has had over the last 8 or 9 months, that every single day, just about, I get to watch a video. Now, if you watch Fox News, you're not going to see it. But if you read some reasonable newspapers and go online to reasonable sources, almost every day or every few days, we'll see some sort of incident. It's like Wolf Creek, and you know, what it makes me think about is before cell phones, or even all the times now, how many instances are we missing? If we catch this many, how many do we not see? So it seems to me that no one should be more concerned about this than law enforcement. If they're serious about protecting and serving, they should be horrified at their officers who are either incapable physically, intellectually, or emotionally to do this job. They should be the ones leading the charge of this. I don't understand it.
I don't either. I really don't. I mean, well, I guess I do understand it if I try to understand it within the frame of, white supremacist structures and power. For instance, I just noticed the crime scene tape that has been used regularly each week to prevent pro-Gainsville in particular from accessing the courthouse steps of their own community as they were able to before. This is an overreach of power. Them using crime scene tape and doing this is an abuse of power. And I noticed, it's just hitting me now, you were sitting here, and no one's come out to say anything. I'm going to stand up there now.
Okay.
And see what they have to say about that. And I'm going to bet that the minute myself or any of these young black leaders go up there to try to take those steps, somebody's going to have something to say.
Could be.
But, you with your privilege, which I know I can say this to you because I know you're an individual who's fully aware of their privilege. Yep. It's not an issue. So, look, he's telling me right now, what's the problem? I can't hear you, sir.
Move to the other side of the barricade. Move to the other side of the barricade.
Are the courthouse steps off limits?
Yes, they are.
Oh.
Move to the other side of the barricade.
Are they not public property?
Move to the other side of the barricade, or I will trespass you.
Okay. So, you see, I just wanted you to know that it's not blocked off.
Move to the other side of the barricade.
Okay.
Made America the land of the free to take a black life.
It's always good to see you, Chris. Well, that took about a whopping 10 seconds, Ron.
Yeah. What was he saying? You got to be off the
Move
steps?
to the other side of the barricade.
Oh, okay.
I asked him if the steps were off limits, and he said yes to move, or he would trespass me.
Or he would what?
Trespass me.
No.
For standing on public property. Even though this barricade here.
A lot of this is that when people are threatened, they always retreat. They retreat to their place of safety. They react back to where they came from.
What's interesting to me, though, is what on earth would they be threatened of? A gathering of people?
Yeah, because it upsets the status quo.
Yeah.
Us challenging the status quo, it causes a reaction. People stiffen their backs, right? And that is structural racism or cultural racism. I guess in another community it could be another color or whatever, but in America that's structural racism.
Indeed. I just love that it took a whopping literal not even 10 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he didn't arrest you.
Oh, he can't arrest me. He can't.
Trespass you, whatever.
I'm not breaking any laws. They can call it whatever they want. I'm not breaking any laws. So, no one's allowed to access the steps once again. girl.
never got
I
anything.
believe
kept-
you. I knew you would have been there. If you
I would have
got it.
been there because I was like, okay, it's getting close. I was like, I kept checking my
You
phone.
know,
I was like, oh my god.
More allies. Hey, family.
Hey.
Hey, go, puppy.
He loves me too much. That sounds bad.
So we have some sidewalk chalk here in front of the Confederate monument. So this message did read, no shrines to white supremacy, but the other part of it has been washed away. They don't want to see the words white supremacy on their courthouse sidewalks. They just want monuments to it. So it sounds like leaders are getting started with speeches, so we're going to head over here, gather up to listen to them. It's a small crowd today, a couple dozen folks, more than last week.
Douglas renovations. Hopefully we can get that thing started. Again, if anybody wants to be on the committee for that, please reach out to Tori, myself, or Letitia Hendricks, and we can get that. So there's a couple of things that's happened this past week, as far as just what's been going on with Pro Gainesville. So a lot of us, Tori, myself, and Amara went down to Wolf City to stand in solidarity with Wolf City, who just lost Jonathan Price at the hands of police brutality. And while we were there, we stood with them, we marched with them, and we noticed there was luckily they did arrest after that march. They arrested the officer who murdered Jonathan Price, and so hopefully we will see justice for Jonathan Price in Wolf City. After, as soon as we were leaving Wolf City, there was, and a lot of people may have seen this because it picked up national news, there was a gentleman that showed up with a long rifle, and that was shortly right after Tori and I left that, and Amara left that area. But there's a gentleman, anybody who saw that video, that gentleman that was also there involved with that has been at our protest several times as well, causing troubles, standing over there with a gun. And things of that nature. So this goes to show again that these people that are coming, they're coming in from out of town to show a force. We've seen that since July 1st, and they're going and they're harassing these small towns as well, like Wolf City. Wolf City was just, when we went to Wolf City, as soon as we got there, the community there really welcomed everybody. They were nervous about outsiders coming in. But the thing is they knew that we were all there to stand in solidarity with them. And so Wolf City was a good example of how I wish our community would exist, in the fact that they accepted people who came into their community to stand in solidarity with them, whereas our community has fought against us. So I think it's time for Gainesville to take a look at that scenario and accept that we all have one goal, and many of us are going down different paths of that goal to get there, whether it's let's take a seat at the table or protest. But time and time again, everybody keeps asking why, when you have your protest, why do you bring up other things other than the statue? And number one, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. And so that's number one, why we're out here. And number two, things have evolved. We constantly have something, whether it's the county commissioners oppressing us by blocking the lawn, and then unblocking the lawn, going back and forth because they know it's illegal, or whether them backlighting us in conversations behind closed doors and then doing something totally opposite. And we waited for quite a while before we called things out. When they very first were happening, we would wait, and we would, under good faith, because we were meeting with the police officers, we were meeting with the city, so we gave them in good faith. So we waited to call things out, and then once we started calling things out, they get revengeful with politically and revengeful motivated charges against Amara, myself, and Tori. and they do things like blocking the lawn and things of that nature. It's simply to suppress dissent in our community. As you notice, I do want to point something out before I hand the microphone to whoever else wants to speak. But I'd just like to give everybody in the public an update on what's been going on. So kind of what happened this week. Last week, most of us were gone, but the community still decided that they wanted to protest. And so that just goes to show that this is community ran. And this isn't just pro-Gainesville rallying people. The community came together. We said that we wouldn't be there, and the community said that doesn't matter, we will. And so it's not just a group of people. This is the entire community asking for this statue to be removed, asking for racial justice in our county as well. Now, before we were speaking with the sheriff's department and the police, Gainesville Police Department, but now they've gone into where there's really not much to talk about. When they arrest you on politically motivated, revengeful tactics, and they start following you home, sitting outside your homes, and they start using these tactics to intimidate you, you tend not to want to talk to them. So conversations have been limited, but we've always made the stance that the sheriff's office, they have my phone number, Texas State Troopers have my phone number, and Gainesville Police Department has my phone number, and they always know if something goes on in a protest that they can approach one of us and we will take care of the issue. But what the county sheriffs recently have decided was that they're not going to talk to us about anything. So something that they did last week during the community ran, they approved for us to have a table here to register voters. And I get an email later that night, a couple of days later, from the county judge. Now, there were sheriff's officers in the courthouse, but it appears that now they're too scared to come have a conversation with us. So for some reason, the county judge sends me an email the next day, and he waits until after we're in Wolf City, and I just went live on our Facebook page showing that we were in Wolf City standing in solidarity with them. As soon as the live ended, I checked my emails, and 5 minutes after that live ended, I get an email from the county judge that basically said that the table wasn't on the concrete. And so since the table wasn't on the concrete, we were going to lose all of our privileges if it ever happens again. And we think this is just petty stuff that the county just keeps bringing up. It's simple petty stuff that the county sheriffs could have came out and just told us, and we would have gladly cooperated. But instead, the county sheriffs want to hide inside the courthouse, not say anything, and then come back later and try to get us in trouble with the court commissioners or find a reason to get us in trouble. I'm sure when they went and reported this to the county commissioners, I'm sure it was like, hey, they did this, what can we do to them? And that's just wrong. So I'm going to turn the speaker around so I can give a message to the county sheriffs, because I do think it's important that they understand that they can ask us something, and they're not willing to come out and listen. So to the Cook County sheriffs inside the courthouse, if you have an issue at any time with our protest, you're more than welcome to come talk to me. So now I've said this in front of everyone, so if there is an issue going forward, now everybody knows that they can always contact us anytime, and we will gladly do whatever they ask us to do. But until then, obviously they just want to hide inside the courthouse and not even acknowledge anybody. But if they want to sit on the clock and collect their time and just sit in there, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and give the microphone over to Tori. We are going to march today, so we'll go into safety about that before we head out. But I'm going to give the mic over to Tori, and she's going to talk a little bit about what's been going on.
Hey guys. So I first want to say thank you for coming out. I actually got to have a meeting with our mayor on Friday. It didn't go very well, but I thought that it was important to kind of focus on some of the progress that we have had. One of the comments that was made was that our black community doesn't support us because James Hughes doesn't support us, but I'm happy to see you today. But I think also there's so many here that have a reason why they don't want to stand, and usually that reason has to do with disagreements for someone who's speaking or disagreements for someone else who's out here. And I think whenever you see an issue in your community and you feel like it's something that needs to be addressed, at the end of the day, that is all that matters, is changing that situation, changing the systemic racism that we are dealing with. So I wanted people that don't come out to hear that, or to hear that we are peaceful. And not only that, but if the reasons for not wanting to stand with your community, I think, are really getting slim. I think that it's not at all We don't have counter protesters anymore, and that's something to be happy about. That's progress. When you don't have people standing across from you with guns, we have no reason to be able to not stand here and talk about the things in our community that exist that need to be changed. I wanted to touch on today is going to be a little bit different, because I've heard often that the messages doesn't always just align with the monument. But if you understand the systemic racism that is attached to that monument and the stronghold that it's still holding over this community, then you can understand the conversation that we're about to have about racism that is still alive in a system today, a local system. So I wanted to touch on that before we get to the courthouse or to the fire station and we go into that conversation. It's important to understand that white supremacy and the stronghold and systemic racism is still very much alive, and it's still a big part of the reason that we're having to come out here and discuss it. Another comment that Jim Goldsworthy made to me was that no one's coming out here anymore. Nothing's changing. No progress is happening. Well, forms went out this week to change the name of that Robert E. Lee school, right?
Right.
That's progress.
Woo!
Make sure that you get those sent in by the 16th. And I don't want to advocate for a name right now. I think I would just be happy with Gainsville Elementary or some form of making it really simple. Something that can include all of us. A lot of the argument seems to continue to be that kids either they don't understand who Robert E. Lee was, or Robert E. Lee was really a good guy, the continual argument that we always hear. But at the end of the day, when you're a black child who goes through this school system and you look up and you see those things that existed and it was okay with everybody else, and that reflects on self-love, and that reflects on what you realize about everyone else around you, that is a big deal. And at the end of the day, I do this for all of us and for the community, but I think it's so important that children feel included in their community. Having a sense of community helps with having a sense of patriotism. If you can't even feel like you belong in your community, how do you feel like you belong in your country? How do you stand next to people and feel like this is where you're supposed to be? That is important for our kids to feel, not just some kids. Every kid that's here should feel like Gainesville welcomes them, and Gainesville sees beauty in their culture and their difference. And I feel really strongly about that. I work with many different people in the community, and I think that a sense of community is what's important, and that's why I'm here. But really, I'm ready for this march because I'd like for us to have this conversation. And I'd like to shed light to racism that everyone says doesn't exist in Cook County or in Gainesville. I'd like to shed light on that and show that it is real, and it is something that needs to be taken away in order for us to live in a non-biased place where we can all be included and gathered together. So let's march. Amara, did you want to say anything? Does anybody else from the community want to speak? Crickets. That's okay. We'll talk.
So just a couple of things. We are doing different march route. Like she mentioned, we're going to go to the fire station, and we'll explain why here in just a moment. So we are going to meet over here at the statue, but we are going to cross the street onto California Street, staying on the sidewalks the entire time, and we will go down and turn. We're going to continue to stay on the sidewalks because the city continues on their basis that they will not approve permits for us. So we're going to cross the street this way rather than that way as normal.
If there are people that are wanting to hear what we're about to talk about, and you usually sit here, if you're willing to drive over to the fire station, I think it's worth hearing.
So if anybody wants to drive over there, I know I'm driving over there, so if anybody wants to drive, you can. It's going to be the fire station off Culberson.
So today, Pro Gainesville is marching to the new fire department to have some conversations about what we were discussing earlier, and recently discovered text messages between local firemen blatantly and unapologetically using racial slurs. And so yeah, Pro Gainesville is going to talk about that some more at the firehouse, which is great. Oh, I wish I could show you all this magical mullet that's about half a block down.
Yard lobby. We will welcome you to listen. We don't buy. Unless it's Eric, you might buy.
So to confirm, you're going that way.
We're gonna have to really direct our mind.
Don't follow me! Don't follow me! Don't follow me! Y'all follow Tori. Hi, Tony.
Alright guys, let's march through this town, make a little change, make a little ruckus. We the people! We the people!
We the people!
We want change!
We want change!
We the people!
We the people!
We want change!
We want change!
We the people!
We the people!
We won't stop!
We won't stop!
Every day!
Every day!
Every day!
Every day!
We want change!
We want change!
Every day!
Every day!
All lives can matter, so what?
Black Lives Matter!
All lives can matter, so what?
Black Lives Matter!
All lives can matter, so what?
Black Lives Matter!
All lives can matter, so what?
Black Lives Matter!
Justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No racist!
Police!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No racist!
Police!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
No!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
No!
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
We don't get it.
Shut it down!
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
no justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace!
When black lives are under attack,
Fist up! Fight back!
black lives are under attack,
Fist up! Fight back!
when black women are under attack,
Fist up! Fight back!
when black women are under attack,
Fist up! Fight back!
when black children are under attack,
Fist up! Fight back!
when black children are under attack,
Fist up! Fight back!
black liberties are under attack,
Fist up! Fight back!
when black liberties are under attack,
Fist up! Fight back!
fist up,
Fight back!
fist up,
Fight back!
fist up,
Fight back!
fist up,
Fight back!
justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace!
no racist,
Police!
no racist.
Police!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
No!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
No!
Power to the people.
Power to the people!
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 Alright guys, we're in commercial area, but we can still show what community looks like. Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like!
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what family looks like.
This is what family looks like!
Show them what family looks like.
This is what family This is what diversity looks like.
What diversity looks like.
This is what diversity looks like.
Show me what acceptance looks like.
This is what acceptance looks like.
Show me what acceptance looks like.
This is what acceptance looks like. No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace. Give me a B.
B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. B, I got your B, I got your B. L, I got your L, I got your L. M, I got your M, I got your M. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Hands up.
Don't shoot.
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 Hands up.
Fight back.
Hands up.
Fight back.
Hands up.
Fight back.
Hands up.
Fight back.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
If we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Fuck one.
Fuck drugs. No peace.
If we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
I said if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
hey, hey,
Ho ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey hey. Ho ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey hey. Ho ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey hey. Ho ho. That racist statue has got to go.
hey, hey.
Ho ho! That racist statue has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! That racist statue has got to go! Hey hey!
Don't get no justice.
They don't get no
I
peace!
said if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace!
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace!
what do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
No!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
No!
And if we don't get it,
Shut it
if
down!
we don't get it,
Shut it down!
we don't get it.
Shut it down!
Brick by brick,
Wall by wall, we will make the system fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, we will make the system fall.
brick by brick,
Wall by wall, we will make the system fall.
wall by wall.
We will make the system fall.
No justice,
No peace,
no justice,
No peace. No peace. Enough is enough. We won't go back.
No cake.
No Trump, no KKK, no racist USA.
No Trump,
No KKK, no racist USA.
Hands up.
Don't shoot.
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 Fist up.
Fight back.
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 No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
If we don't get no justice.
They don't get no peace.
If we don't get no justice.
They don't get no peace.
If we don't get no justice.
They don't get no peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
We the people.
We the people.
We want change.
We want change.
We the people.
We the people.
We want change.
We want change.
We the people.
We the people.
We want change.
We want change.
We the people.
We the people.
We won't stop.
We won't stop.
Every day.
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 Power to the people.
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 Power to the people. Power to the people.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it?
Shut it down.
If we don't get it?
Shut it down.
We don't get it.
Shut it down.
Because there's no other option at this point. No justice.
No peace.
We keep asking for justice. And until we get any, there will be no peace. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace. It's like these cops knew where we were headed.
All right, everybody, let's gather. Right up here by this Liberty Bell.
Who sent you the memo, man? I don't recall sending you the memo where we were going. I don't recall inviting you.
All right, everybody, looks like everybody's been around.
Yeah, and we have at least 3 squad cars. That's what I said. And I think, well, this one was already here. They knew where we were headed.
Alright guys, so earlier this week we had someone reach out to me about a concern that they have. There was a message amongst firemen and friends.
Turn your megaphone around so it's facing us.
That might make a difference.
It will for the feed anyway. Thank you.
So in this message, there's a lieutenant fire chief lieutenant fireman that made a comment amongst his comrades and friends. And even once he was corrected, I didn't include all of that in this conversation. But even once he was corrected, he didn't agree that the remark was racist. So you can turn it over. He openly uses the N-word. And even once someone said, hey, that's really racist, we shouldn't say that, his response was, you're being sensitive. And then he felt that using the N-word amongst white men was not racist. But we all know that that derogatory word has been a very ugly word for centuries, and it's still used as hatred towards black people. And I don't know, I blame that word on a lot. But I wanted to talk about that primarily because we've been talking about systemic racism in our community. We've been talking about the monument, which is a stronghold to that white supremacy that was placed a long time ago, to continue that into today. And I think the goal was that it would remain forever, really. But this is another form of racism that exists within a system here in our local government. Okay, this is our fire department. This is a man who is in charge of other firemen. And those firemen weren't even willing to speak up against him. So the fact that it was brought to me does show me that somebody wants change, but that we know that it's hard to ask for, right? Sorry, hold on. So something that me and my sister talked about it a little bit, and these are men that we expect to come out and take care of our community, right? This is our EMS, this is our fire department, this is our fire lieutenant, the person who is leading other firemen into protection of us, all of us. Whenever you draw this kind of line and you refuse to call this for what it is, which is racism, where does that line get drawn out here in the community? How does response change? And we cannot say the response doesn't change, because we're watching that happen on a local level, we're watching that happen on a state level, and we're watching that happen on a national level. That bias is causing a difference in the treatment of black humans. And if we're not willing to call it out, then it's not going to be changed. If we're not willing to say something about it, this dialogue right here exists because nobody was ever going to see it, right? But how does this dialogue affect you coming in to save my life or my black son's life? How does it affect when you come on this side of town? What are you doing when there's a fire over here? Do you feel different when you get there? Because bias plays a big role in our decision making. And a lot of us work in positions where bias is not allowed. Bias cannot exist for you to do your job effectively because you serve everyone. You serve a diverse population. So does he. That is no different. Hold the people that you put in power accountable for their bias and accountable for racist behavior, because it does hurt your community. If you're not willing to let go of the stronghold of white supremacy that sits on your courthouse lawn, then let go of that stronghold that exists in your systems. That same racism that affects how we are responded to when they come out here to save our lives or take them. So I wanted to bring this to my community's attention, because I think it's something else we need to advocate for. Not only will we continue advocating for the systemic racism that exists on the courthouse lawn, and we know how that's affected all those systems. We know how it's affected how GPD has responded to us. We know that it's affected how CCSO has responded to us. This is another way that it affects our community. So just like those emails have been sent to ask for this to be removed, some kind of accountability is due. I'm not even going to say what that is, because it's not up to me to decide, because it wasn't my behavior. It's not our problem. It's our problem that we have to deal with out here, but it's up for them to decide. So I wanted to open up this a little bit, if there's anything that you guys wanted to say. But I also feel like it's important. We will get the article up tonight and everything, so everyone can read everything that's happened. But it's important for us to be sending emails to request for change in this department. Gainesville, Texas is not going to make it through being racist. We know what climate we live in, and how long we accept that is up to us. Okay, sometimes we come out here, there's not that many of us. That's okay. Sometimes we come out here, there's a lot of us. That's okay. That's okay. As long as we are still shedding light on what is wrong, and we are still willing to stand up to say, hey, this is an area for change. This is an area that it's affecting our people, not just on a local level. And that's the part that I want to drive home. This is a real problem. This bias that is being able to exist amongst people in power is a real problem for my people. So it's time to shed light on it.
Well, who told those women that older people wasn't us? Hell, he can't speak for me.
I noticed that I did the conversation that I had with the mayor this week. He's not running again for mayor, by the way. I think that there's a reason behind that.
Can we talk about it?
But I do want to say, since I'm on live, community, black community, white community, Hispanic community, everybody, your community needs your support. Don't let that be the reason that you're not here. Stop letting them say that nobody cares, because we do care. I know the energy is low. I feel it with everything in me. Every Sunday is getting a little bit harder, but whenever I see stuff like this, it's like we can't stop, because if someone knew it was right to send this to the attention of Pro Gainesville and to all of us, that means they knew there needed to be change and they knew who would do it. So you become those advocates.
Can I just say something to
So just to
I personally want to address the black community. That was like a slap in my face. We are being supportive, even though there's some who's not supporting us. Why, I don't know. But they need to stop being that yes sir, no sir type of guy and fight and stand up for some right. Because you got to stand up some point in your life. You got to stand up and fight for what's right. Mm-hmm. So to the black community, I'm saying, y'all need to come out and stand with us. I know some of y'all can't come out because we have some shady police. And some of y'all on parole and probation. Fine, I understand that. I don't want y'all to jeopardize y'all freedom. But those who are able to come out, come out. Come out. Because a certain few that have talked to the mayor do not speak for the majority of the blacks in this town.
That's right. That's right.
So in case anybody didn't catch that, so what happened was the mayor had a meeting with Tory, and in this meeting, it was constantly about how nobody supports us. That's why our crowd is getting smaller. He's saying that nobody supports us, and we know that's not true. He threw out some names that are at the courthouse right now. So we know what he's saying isn't true. But something that we do know about the mayor is, as we've been meeting with important people in the city, and even since day one, the mayor has contacted people himself and told them to tell us to stop protesting. Told them to call our parents and tell our parents to stop, to tell us to stop protesting. Yeah, he called our parents. He thought that was going to change something. He's made direct attacks at us to stop protesting. What he's doing is he's been calling, the committee was formed because of what was going on. And not. It wasn't until after we started protesting that they formed that committee and actually did it. And it might have been an ideal, but they had not taken action until after we started protesting. So it's just, once again, there was also commented, he said in several meetings and stuff that if the county didn't remove the statue, he would be out there with us. And one thing he pointed out Friday, we questioned that, because he always likes to say he's an honest person. Honest person, like Honest Abe, I guess. That's what he likes to say. And so he's an honest person, a man of his word, so we always call out. You said you would be here with us at our marches and asking for the county commissioners, and he's changed it, and he says, actually what I told you was that if you do what I say, and they don't remove the statue, then I will protest with you. He kept saying, but you didn't listen, you didn't do what I wanted you to do. It's all about control for him and him dictating what we're doing. And so I'm glad he's not running for mayor, because I think it's time, when discussions like this, hard topics come up, and you're trying to bring communities together, we couldn't even think further outside of the box than just putting the Pledge of Allegiance at the park. I mean, I get it, it's going to be great, but at the same time, we couldn't even think too far out of the box. We're so focused in this town about making it look like we're patriot, making it look like we're this. It's all about image for them. And it's just simply, it's disgraceful. And, we brought up Medal of Honor host city and how we didn't think it was right for us to be a Medal of Honor host city with that statue there, when the Medal of Honor was created to give value to the Union during the Confederacy. It was all created during that time. And then you have, you know, the opposite side wanted to go to extreme and say that we were taking down Medal of Honor Park. No, that's not what we're doing. We're just saying that you can't simply host and make a big deal and have all these people come in all over the news stations of this big long line from DFW all the way to Gainsville to support the Medal of Honor. When you get here and you have that disgraceful statue at the courthouse that they have to drive by. I don't understand. And you know, there's and that's simply what we're calling out. Those were one of the things at stake. There's nothing that we can do about that. But if the Medal of Honor recipients get together, now that it's been brought to attention, was to call it out and just basically put it on the table. Like she said, some people had messaged us and brought this to our attention. They're doing that because they're scared. We live in such a polarized community right now that people are scared, and they know that we're comfortable calling it out. It needs to change. So I hope that the mayor and the fire chief makes the right decision, whatever decision. We're not gonna tell them what to do, because it's very interesting. We're bringing it to their attention. They can read that and they can decide. Let's see where their values are. Let's see where their morals are. Let's see where their ethics are. Because everybody, if something was to happen, if I said that he needs to be fired today and they fired him, what we're going to do. We're not going to play these games. We're not going to go back and forth and try to put it back on each other. It's not going to happen like that. So it's up to the fire chief. So now everybody is aware of this. We're going to be putting an article out. We're going to be posting on social media. A lot of people, there was another Facebook page that was calling people out and always associated with us. That's not us. If we're going to call you out, we're going to do it at a protest, and then we're going to put it on our own Facebook page where you know who we are. We don't hide behind computer screens. That's why we comment under our own names instead of Pro Gainesville's names when we comment to you on Facebook. Everybody knows who we are, and we're not going to hide behind. We're not going to hide behind a keyboard. So we'll post all this, and we're going to let the city decide. So now you know. You can write the emails to Jim Goldsworthy. You can write the emails to Barry Sullivan, the city manager, and the fire chief, whoever that may be at this time, and ask for change and tell them how you feel they should address this situation.
Anybody else have anything else to say? You guys? Okay.
Three marked cars across the street. At least two in rotation around us.
There was, if you look, the officer, because this is not a fucking joke. And I'm tired of this shit. I'm very tired. It's not a joke. It's not funny. This is serious. And I can understand, no, actually I can't. I was about to say I can understand why somebody who doesn't live this life, who doesn't have these experiences, doesn't understand the severity of it, but it's 2020 now, so there's no excuse for this at all. And if you don't get it, then I don't know what to tell you, but you're about to get left behind. Going to get left behind, because change is coming. It's hard to sit back and really think about, what's in this movement, because that's so important. It's very important. So thank you.
And I think a big a part of what's going on with this is there were other firemen in the message that didn't say anything. And that's kind of what we're seeing amongst our police officers as well. Police officers and firemen, if you're not willing to correct those around you that are wrong, it makes all of you wrong. If you have your people out here, it doesn't take you're not impartial by calling out facts, which is racism is wrong. And if there are police officers that hold, he's not even a voter.
So we just had a baby or somebody.
If there are the problems that we're having with each other. And I think it's going to take firemen and police officers being willing to speak up against this hatred for us to come together. I really do. But let's march back.
So Living Blue in Texas just released an article.
All right.
So
there
you
will
can
be an article on
lives over white feelings.
Black 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 lives are under attack.
Fist up, fight back.
Black lives are under attack.
Fist up, fight back.
Black girls are under attack.
Fist up, fight back.
Black women are under attack.
Fist up, fight back.
Black boys are under attack.
Fist up, fight back.
Black men are under attack.
Fist up, lives matter.
All lives don't matter what?
Black lives matter.
All lives don't matter what?
Black lives matter.
Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail.
The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Indict, convict, send them racist cops to jail.
The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Indict, convict, send those racist cops to jail.
The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Indict, convict, send them killer cops to jail.
The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what Gainsville looks like.
Show me what Gainsville looks like.
This is what Gainsville looks like.
Black lives over white feelings.
Black lives over white feelings.
Black lives over white feelings.
Black lives over white feelings. Black lives over white feelings. No Trump, no KKK, no racist USA. No KKK, no racist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no racist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no racist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no racist USA. We the people. We want change. We the people. We won't quit. We the people. We won't quit. Every day. Every day. Every day. Until there's change. Ho ho! That racist statue has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! That racist statue has got to go! Hey hey! Ho ho! That racist statue has got to go!
Hey, real quick, we're going to change up this time because our music's here. Today we're going to say, hey, hey, ho ho, your racist firefighter has to go, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, which one do you want? Firefighter or lieutenant? Pick one.
Lieutenant.
Okay.
Let me get his
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Yo, race lieutenant has got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race lieutenant has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race lieutenant has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That racist lieutenant has got to go! Hey, hey!
Let's just say your racist fire. Simple, right? Hey, hey!
Ho, ho! That racist fireman has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That racist fireman has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That racist fireman has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That racist fireman's got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That racist fireman has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That racist fireman has got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
That racist fireman has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That racist fireman has got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
That racist fireman has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That racist fireman has got to go!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
Whoa, baby.
If we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
I said if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what solidarity looks like.
This is what solidarity looks like.
Show me what solidarity looks like.
This is what solidarity looks like.
Show me what diversity looks like.
This is what diversity looks like.
Show me what diversity looks like.
This is what diversity looks like.
Show me what inclusion looks like.
This is what inclusion looks like.
Show me what inclusion looks like.
This is what inclusion looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what America looks like.
This is what America looks like.
Remind them what America looks like.
This is what America looks like.
Enough is enough, we won't go back.
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 No justice.
No peace.
For 130 days, Texas has been protesting for change. The whole country has been protesting for change. We are in complete civil unrest. Enough.
Oh, we got new babies.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop.
Hold up.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop.
My husband's back there.
We got new marchers. Some folks joining us at the back.
Hello, new marchers.
Some little marchers.
Little marchers. We'll slow down. We'll slow down.
Little marchers inspired.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop.
80 person, 8 person, 800 person.
Yep.
Power to the people.
Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people.
Because the power of the people don't stop.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop.
We the people.
We the people.
We want change.
We want change. We the people. We won't quit. Every day. Till there's change. We the people. We want change. We the people. We won't quit. Every day. Every day. Until there's change. Until there's change.
All lives came back to what?
Black Lives Matter.
you know ahead of time.
I'll get your number from Sherry.
Okay, good. Good.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
Fuck these racist ass police! Hey, hey! Oh, oh! That racist statue has got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That racist statue has got to go!
Hey, hey!
Ho, ho! That racist statue has got to go!
Hey, hey!
Ho, ho! That racist statue has got to go!
Hey, hey!
Ho, ho! That racist statue has got to go!
Hey, hey!
Ho, ho! That racist statue has got to go!
We the people!
We the people!
We want change!
We want change!
We the people!
We the people!
We won't quit!
We won't quit!
Every day!
Every day!
Every day!
Every day!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
We the people!
We the people!
We want change!
We want change!
We the people!
We the people!
We won't quit!
We won't quit!
Every day!
Every day!
Every day!
Every day!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
We the people!
We the people!
We want change!
We want change!
We the people!
We the people!
We won't quit!
We won't quit!
We the people!
We the people!
We want change!
We want change!
We the people!
We the people!
We won't quit!
We won't quit!
Every day!
Everybody say hi to the undercover cop!
Every day! Until there's change!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
We the people!
We the people!
We want change!
We want change!
We the people!
We the people!
We won't quit!
We won't quit!
Every day!
Every day!
Every day!
Every day!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
Until there's change!
We the people!
We the people!
We want change!
We want change!
We the people!
We the people!
We won't quit!
We won't quit! Where's the cowardice cop?
Every day! Until
Until there's
there's change!
change!
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter!
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter!
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter!
When black lives are under attack,
Big stop, fight back!
black lives are under attack,
Big stop, fight back!
when black women are under attack,
Big stop, fight back!
black women are under attack,
Big stop, fight back!
black children are under attack,
Big stop, fight back!
when black children are under attack,
Big stop, fight back!
when black voices are under attack,
Big stop, fight
when
back!
black voices are under attack,
Big stop, fight
no
back!
justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace! Fuck these racist ass police! Fuck Trump!
right.
And your
What do we
racist
want?
firemen!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
And if we don't get it,
Shut it
if
down!
we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it
I
down!
said if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
no justice,
No peace!
Fuck these racist assholes.
what side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side!
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side!
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We're on the freedom side!
And all lives can't matter till
Black Lives Matter!
And in Gainesville, Texas, repeatedly we've had to ask for representation to be equal. Rebeautifying P.P. Douglas is a great thing, I will say that, but it's not a Band-Aid. It doesn't plug up the issues it doesn't take away the issues that we have. It doesn't change the fact that we have a lieutenant fire department using the N-word during a casual conversation with fellow firemen and his white friends.
Hi, Michelle. I see this.
Racist slurs are racism.
I did not see your message.
Racism is bias. It affects his ability to do his job, as we see on a local level and as we see on a national level. That bias cannot exist if you're going to have people follow you and you've sworn to care for people, to have, what does that badge say? Courage and honor.
Send me the info, Michelle.
Honor. Racism is not honor. Standing up against racism is honor. If you can use the N-word with fellow firemen and other white men, and no one has the courage, it says courage, no one else has the courage to say this is wrong, and this affects the ability for you to do your job. If I'm in a fire, are you responding to me differently? That's my question. And I think that's the question that all of us should be asking. We can no longer allow for these things to exist in this community. If we're going to take one system, one piece of systemic racism, we've got to take it all. We've got to be willing to call it all out. We've got to have more honor and courage than this fireman does. Okay? Does that mean there's going to be a reaction to that? Yeah, it's going to be a rough week. But that's all right, because we stand strong. It's been a rough life for some, you know. They'll be all right. Just a little bit of discomfort. But again, I want to thank everybody for coming out.
No, I actually had a new chant that y'all might want to try.
Okay.
I was like, oh. There's a face under there.
Surprise!
I missed it. Damn it.
He's like, that's it.
New chant, everybody. Just want to teach this to y'all. So, I'm going to say, hey, Mr. Ross. That's his first name. Then y'all say, you need to get lost. Yes. Cool? Do you like it?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to try it. Hey, Mr. Ross.
You need to get lost.
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 Oh, I got it, good. Y'all remember that and keep chanting it until he gets fired.
He took off with it.
All right, guys. But we'll shut down tonight. Continue conversation amongst yourself if that's something that you want to do. But I think leave here with knowing that even if the whole community is against you, which I don't feel like is true. I think we have a lot of silent support. I like vocal support actually, but okay. Even if you feel like your whole community is against you, please know that they are against you because you're standing up for some injustice that has existed or that they're not knowledgeable about. You can teach them, or you can continue being the model for them. And that's what we're doing. We're going to continue modeling that behavior. This is inclusion. This is diversity. This is anti-racist right here. And that's what we'll continue. So thank you, all of you that continue to come out. Bring a friend next week. Tell somebody else to be here. Counter-protesters, we're always willing to communicate with you. But everybody have a good evening. Thank you. You too.
I'm not. I'm just willing to tell you you're racist. But y'all know that already. Alright, so another successful march in Gainesville, Texas. Tonight exposing, tonight's march went to the fire department, the new fire department here in Gainesville. So as to expose and call out Gainesville Fire Department Lieutenant Ross Pilcher, who recently used the N-word in text messages amongst other firemen in a group message, and then when called out by one of those firemen, while dozens remained silent, when called out by one fireman, he then defended his use of the word, saying that it was okay because it wasn't racist because he used it to refer to a white man. Now, of course, that removes the entire concept that he was using that word as an insult for a white man, which suggests that the very nature of the word itself is, in fact, an insult and a derogatory term, a racialized term, obviously, that dehumanizes people, which is why he used it as an insult for another white man. So we marched to the Gainesville Fire Department tonight to call out that lieutenant, and it looks like marches will continue here in Gainesville every Sunday. Exhausted?
Next
running from one place to another.
Next week.
I'll be streaming October 17th.
Is this is Saturday, right?
Yeah. It's Saturday. It's right noon. We'll have tables and booths. There's going to be a lot of speakers. Radio's going to be talking. So is Barry and a couple other people. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be singers, performers. Then there's going to be a march and what's it called?
You should have a belly dancer.
Do you want to be a belly dancer? No, seriously, like, straight up. I'm helping organize it. So like,
if it's not too hot, I'll show up.
You can always just like show up and just like do your thing no matter what.
It's not too hot.
Oh, yeah.
So October 17th in Denton is the Women's March at noon. Everyone's rallying at the courthouse.
At the courthouse. Me at the courthouse.
So at the Denton County Courthouse, October 17th at noon, Women's March. They'll have speakers from political candidates, an assortment of community leaders speaking and marching. I believe each year it's about a 2-mile march. So. Michelle, I can't pull up your text message. Let me see if I can find it. And as usual, there's the looky-loo guys sitting over here documenting, you know, making a mockery of equal justice work. They sit over there and they record and take their videos so they can say ugly things about people. A couple of them are working adamantly to get me fired from the University of North Texas. Silly things. And this is why, so again, in case you missed it earlier, this is Gainesville Fire Lieutenant Ross Pilcher. And last week, he was involved in a text thread and when another officer didn't respond fast enough, he thought it was appropriate, Lieutenant Pilcher thought it was appropriate to refer to that white fireman with a derogatory racial slur. Told him to hurry his ass up. Now, you can see that there were dozens of firemen in this text, but only one responded with any kind of correction. That person's identity was removed by their request. And you can see Lieutenant Pilcher's response to being called a racist for using the N-word was that it can't possibly be racist because we used it towards a white man. Though obviously he was using it as a derogatory term to insult the white man. Because he knows that, of course, like everyone in America knows in 2020, the N-word is a racial slur. He even put the hard ER. Not that it matters, but let's be real. You even used the hard ER, sir. You knew what you were doing. You knew you were wrong. And in the very least, you should be fired. Well, yes, ma'am. Okay. Where are you going? You're going across the street. Okay. So Tori's gonna go over there. Tori! Yeah, go over there with her.
Trump 2020.
Trump 2020, he'll be dead by this November. So Tori's taking the sign over to show it to people in the community. Tori's basically exposing the lieutenant to more local black residents. There's my fan club over there, actively documenting me to the left, as always. Obsessed. They miss me. They don't know what to do. How you doing, baby? How you doing? All right. And so what's happening is Tori's over here just sharing this information with other members of the Black community, letting them know about this text thread and what they were working on tonight. Obviously, the point of this is to help spread the word, you know, in this town where Black leaders have consistently been told that there is no racism here, that they've been fooled into believing it because of online, and they've been, you know, brainwashed into thinking that racism thrives here, that this Confederate monument with an inscription ode to white supremacy is really just about heritage and Southern pride. It's not a monument to human traffickers, which it is, obviously, a monument to human traffickers. A problem we still struggle with today, and which still disproportionately affects people and women and children in particular of color, indigenous persons. And so, you know, they continue to be gaslighted by leaders here in the community. And so they are continuing to expose these incidents of blatant racism that exist amongst, you know, leadership communities. Obviously, it would be difficult for any Black person or person of color living in Gainesville to feel safe and equal, and that their lives matter as much as the next person's, when you have lieutenants in the fire department using racial slurs blatantly, and then when being called out for it, defending it, and not even willing to admit the error of their ways and try to do better. It is the very nature and the very point of what these guys are out here talking about. When you have monuments and tributes to human trafficking based on race and colorism, it does normalize that kind of racialized rhetoric, and sets in a precedent that it is okay, and it makes it okay and normal to dehumanize people with language like that. And so again, these things are all connected, and that's the message that pro-Gainesville leaders are out here sharing and spreading. So, small but mighty turnout tonight. Very proud of Gainesville. More folks than last week. Still have a large number of state troopers in the area. Got somebody smudging the monument here. Love that. Say bye.
Have you ever seen the show Witches by Ronald Dahl?
No.
The movie called The Witches. That's what Tilly reminds me of.
I thought I was the witch. Ask her, I'm the witch now.
Yeah, it's a book by Ronald Dahl,
my gosh,
but they made it in like the 90s. They made it into a movie, The Witches.
Okay, yes, I have seen
I think it's on Netflix.
I thought you were redoing it.
So it looks like Tori may be going over there to talk to some of the white members of her community as well, and show them what she's talking about. And she's going to come over here and share that. Yep.
That's what you do.
Yep, I agree. Glad to see y'all every week. Love you. Be well, be safe, be blessed. And so there, you can see these guys are over here talking right now. These are some of the counter-protesters who come out each week to document and stand against the protests going on out here. And so now they're looking at the text messages that were sent. And Tori's trying to engage them in a conversation about the inappropriate nature of those text messages. I'm not going over there because my very presence will agitate the situation to a degree that nothing productive could possibly happen. because they all blame me for everything that happens in Gainesville, which is obviously ridiculous, but I certainly don't want to go over there and do anything that might exacerbate the situation when Tory might stand a chance of actually getting them to see something beyond what they normally can conceive. That was quick. I'm guessing that wasn't very productive. Let me guess. He didn't mean it like that.
He'd like to see the rest of the conversation.
He'd like to see the rest of the
And not only
conversation.
that, but he believes that's a word for an individual, not a person. The N-word is a word for an individual, not a group of people. No, it's a dehumanizing word towards a group of people. I just wanted his opinion.
Yeah.
But he said it's not a cool word.
Excuses, excuses, excuses.
So I hope she got a good headshot of it.
Oh, Tammy?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's always documenting, thinking somebody
Oh, is
gives
she
a
taking
shit.
pictures?
Of me.
Always.
Because they seen the front of my shirt and then he said, oh, you get a good headshot of her?
Don't worry, you'll be a witch before the night's over.
As someone who has a lot of friends who are soldiers. And then he said, oh, that is a good headshot. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm here to serve a purpose.
Well, whatever it brings, it'll continue the conversation, which is the point.
Yeah, and maybe they'll end up having to have some kind of mandatory conversation.
Do you plan on following up on the
Thank you
other
for
idea?
coming. Y'all be safe.
Bye, guys. Be safe, be well.
Following up on the other.
The other idea that we had about getting the message put out.
So I have one. The secondary. That one might work for sure.
Okay.
But I'm gonna check on the primary tomorrow.
Okay. Right on. Well, Michelle said she's going to hashtag whatever, to help it. And if it happens, let me know. I'll do my best to get it passed around to you. Bye, guys. All right, y'all. Love you.
You be safe.
Always a pleasure. See you next Sunday. Be well. Bye. Love you too. Bye. Bye, girl. I'm good. I got hundreds of people with me. Good night, Chris Plank, you coward! Yeah, you! I'm talking to you. You better run. Here I come, Chris. I'm coming around the corner. Quick, run. I'm going to see you on my camera. Hurry. Hurry, Chris. I'm coming. Run. Run, Chris. Coward. That is Lieutenant Chris Plank of the Cook County Sheriff's Department, the biggest coward around, right behind Sheriff Terry Gilbert and former Cook County Sheriff Michael Compton. Every time I come around, he just runs. He's just terrified. You never seen a group of men covered in weapons more terrified of a woman holding a camera. It's like they think I'm going to embarrass them or something. How you doing? Black Lives Matter. Wow, that was weird. That looks a lot like my grandma who's dead. Whoa. Intense. There's the old undercover copper still sitting on the corner down there. Swears he's not an undercover cop. Swears he just so happens to like to enjoy a cigar on that corner every Sunday at 5:30. Okay. Well, y'all are gonna take a little ride with me today. I'm gonna stay live for a little bit of my journey.
And when I say stubborn optimism, what I mean is relentless.
Sometimes I have a crew with me, and when I have a crew, I don't worry so much about travel. But I don't have that full crew today, so you guys are my security team. Okay? Okay. Great. Wonderful. All right. Fighting the Bluetooth system in the car. So now we drive home. And I know most of you won't be watching still, and that's okay. I have a few... God damn this thing. Hi.
I've been talking to you on Twitter.
I don't want to talk to you. Are you the lady who's been trying to convert me to Christianity?
No, I'm not trying to do that. I just want to make some dialogue with you. That's all.
Okay, well, I'm going to go home to my family tonight. And the fact that you're coming and tracking me down in my vehicle is pretty sketchy.
That you were in town every Sunday. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while.
Okay, well, I tell you what. I will make a time to talk with you. But I'm not going to do it right now.
Like I said, when I sent you a private message, I would be happy to send you my phone number. You can block your number if you want to and call me back.
I will make time to dialogue with you.
I mean, there's a side of you that I think I could really get to like.
I mean, quite frankly, I really don't care if you like me or not.
I mean, I have some things that I would like to share with you about this town.
Uh-huh.
I've been around here all my life.
Yeah.
I was actually married to a sheriff's son at one time.
Uh-huh. Okay, I will make time to talk with you.
I mean, don't feel threatened. I'm not trying to.
Well, you got to understand, I am threatened regularly.
I do get it.
Regularly.
Not everybody in this town hates you, okay?
Well, you've had some pretty ugly things to say to me, so I just find it interesting. Okay. Well, I tell you what, I will make time to dialogue with you. I can't do it right now, but I will make time to do it.
I'm supposed to be out getting something for my husband to eat, so.
I admire your courage. It took a lot of bravery to come over here and do this.
It takes a lot of courage for what you do too. But like I said, there's a lot of things I would like to share with you. I'm willing to take the time.
I will make time to dialogue with you. Send me your phone number on Twitter and I'll call you.
Okay, I'll send it privately because, and like I said, if you want to block your number, that's fine. Just let me know.
Yeah, we'll work it out in the messages beforehand. Just send me your contact.
I don't answer.
What's your name? Dorian. Okay. All right. Well, I'll talk to you.
Have a safe trip home.
You too. Bye. Now I got crazy audio feedback because of my dang Bluetooth. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to live with it. Great. So I do have one. I have one Denton County Sheriff, or excuse me, one Cook County Sheriff's deputy. going behind me. We got one cutting in front. City of Gainesville officer. Got another unmarked car in front of me. It's needless to say, I have made some very serious friends, or not friends, in the Gainesville area. And so that woman has been trying to talk to me on Twitter. She started off with like all this stuff attacking me for not being Christian, and defending my calling out Proud Boy Ron England for his activities in the local area. Now she really wants to talk to me to give me some information. Y'all, it's the same thing every time. When they can't get your attention and scare you, then they want to help. They have some really helpful information. And then that helpful information turns into information to scare you. It's the same thing that happened after I was assaulted on the Denton County Courthouse lawn by the dude with the rifle. This dude named Charlie started reaching out to me, telling me that I was being watched on message boards of local militias, and he just wanted to help me and get me information. Yeah, I got another Cook County sheriff behind me. He just wanted to help me and get me information about what was being planned, attacks that were being coordinated against me and my family. All this nonsense. I think it's funny that the one time I don't have security, I have a tail. If you can, look up North Texas Protesters Protection Fund. It's important that we have funds to do that, but we rely on donations in order to make that happen. Yeah, whoever's behind me is coming up awfully fast. Definitely a tail. So if you are watching on any of the social media channels, I can't see your comments, but I do have a tail following me out of Cook County. So if anybody who can, if you're watching, if you could just keep an eye on me and make sure I get out of Cook County safely, that would be great. It is definitely an officer. Pretty sure it's a Cook County deputy, because I've already, at this point, I'm on the verge of City of Gainesville city limits, so it would have to be a county officer. I'm proud of Gainesville for continuing to push and not giving up in the face of all the intimidation and harassment that the organizers have faced. You know, it's not easy to protest in small towns. Not at all. Very difficult to sustain a movement, especially in a small North Texas town as isolated as Gainesville is and controlled by old Confederate white supremacists, good old boys. You heard several times Tory Lynn concerned about you know, what kind of backlash they were going to face. It's real. They know that they will face consequences just for shedding information about the truth, just for telling the truth. They will face repercussions. I may lose my feed coming into Valley View. It may get real sketchy. I'm going to try to let it continue and hope that it'll come out on the other side. I'm going to try to stay live all the way home. As I go through Valley View, though, I might lose my signal. Okay, so I think that I may not, I might be wrong about the tail. That would be great. We're going to move ahead in traffic and see what happens, and that should tell us. Interstate stretch here where there's literally nothing off the side of the interstate. There's no gas stations. There's one truck stop between here and Denton County. Yeah, I just got passed by an unmarked vehicle. They're ahead of me though, which is good. I like to see that. Is who was tailing me. So an unmarked vehicle just passed.